Yeah, okay, welcome to Academy of Tone 155. Today, with AmpX in front of me, a new version, something we can talk about this pretty soon. The echo wasn't in time because, of course, everything is kind of last minute as usual. But before we dive into the AmpX and what's up with the AmpX, where we are with sounds and effects, I wanted to talk a little bit about people that need to be mentioned. And one guy, which is super important, is one of the kings, Albert King. Yesterday, on the 23rd of April, he would have turned 100 years. And Albert King, B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert King, is one of the blues guys that influenced Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Gary Moore, of course Bonamassa. And he was the guy that kind of was planting the roots for that what we have as blues today. He's kind of the guy who made the blues electric and a little rocky. So one of the albums that he brought out in the 60s was, I think Gary Moore was listening to this album all the way through his whole youth. So when he had his phase doing the blues with Still Got the Blues, that album, he was deeply, deeply into Albert King's album Born Under a Bad Sign. I think there's at least that song, you know, and then, you know, all this kind of bends, bend up to the 5 and let it die. Then you're listening Jimi Hendrix. To me, that's Albert King 1-to-1, no doubt. But all these great people like Jimi Hendrix were quoting him, so they were referring to Albert as one of their big inspirations and influences. So another interesting thing is that this traditional blues guy was playing a flying V, which is a super modern guitar, especially at the time that he was doing that in the 50s and 60s. Okay, that's the birthday man, Albert King, very important, very influential. If you haven't heard the Three Kings, you should listen to their music. You know, if you listen to Joe Bonamassa and, you know, all the guys that do blues these days, don't forget to listen to the roots, because you can listen, you can hear where it's actually coming from. So that's one. And the other man who's also super influential and also funky like hell is Ace Frehley, who was the guitar player in Kiss. Was because he's still there, but he is replaced by Tommy Thayer. I think we might have a photo. Maybe Lucas can find it. I know Tommy quite well. Oops. Yeah, here you can see us. Tommy was replacing him in Kiss, I guess in the 80s, something like that, late 80s. And Ace Frehley had a few like reunion things, you know, nice things as the original guitar player that joined Kiss in 1973, I guess. Yeah, and you know. And Ace Frehley wouldn't be Ace Frehley if he wouldn't have played absolutely funky and efficient. Just that intro lick, like, it's a classic. It doesn't get any more clever than this. So it's like just pull-offs. You hit that B string with the E, the D, and the like open B string. Super simple stuff, but fucking funky, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan because of his phrasing. You know, it's like no super speedy stuff, but just groovy, like great. Well, anyway, these and his birthday is 27, which is kind of like 2 days or something. Yeah, so these are the birthday boys, and here I see a few comments here. Love the album Stevie Ray Vaughan with Albert King. Yeah, I mean Stevie Ray Vaughan was quoting Albert King as the dad, you know, as kind of his dad, and you know, as I told you before, you know, this, that's so Albert King, and it's so Stevie Ray Vaughan, like. Yeah, and I think Gary Moore just had the whole album of Albert and put his high gain sound, like a shred blues version of that. Okay, everybody does his thing, and so everybody does their little contribution to the blues in all the ways. I think Bruce Kulick, Henry Midnacht says, I think Bruce Kulick was the first to replace Ed. That's probably true. Bruce Kulick, I remember from a band called Balance. Maybe you remember that song which goes... It's another classic with, you know, the Oberheim synthesizer, 80s. Yeah, but Bruce Kulick. Yeah, he was also, Balance was the band that's, In for the Count was the number. Okay, a few more comments here. So, Ace's birthday is tomorrow. Yeah, maybe that's true. My fingers sing to my Strat. Where were my... we were for playing you. Okay. Ace and Guvnor, Paul Lickler. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Ah, you think that's a Paul lick. I'm not a super expert there, but when talking about Ace, he had that, or he has that country background. He sometimes does like the hybrid picking thing in a super clever way. So for me, Ace is funky. Anyway, I'm not the biggest expert on all the Kiss details, please forgive me, but I admire the guys for what they've done. They are the glam rock band par excellence, and they are simply killer with their shows, and actually nice guys. I had a chance to meet them. And you all know my Gene Simmons story. I'm not telling this again, another time. Crazy listening to Space Invaders from Ace before the stream. Okay, somebody was listening to the right music to get into the mood. Stevie Rain, 63, and the first was Vinnie Vincent. Okay, yep. Male XLR out on AmpX. Yeah, we are still with the wrong sockets there, but we are not. We have the right ones. Okay. On the other side, I don't see them from here. Okay. Let me have a look. No, they're right. Yeah. They are male. Okay, finally they are male. This is our revision E, as you can see, and you see more than I do, because Julian just came in 15 minutes before the show because he put that prototype here together, which we wanted to show you, revision E. Let's have Julian here, because now we go into detail and we would like to show you where we are at, what's new, and yeah. So
yeah. So 2X shirts
makes
need
double
to have
X.
a special meaning here, yeah?
Yeah, we have 2 XLR outs, so we have 2X shirts. Yeah, this is the first live stream with 2 X's. So,
thanks for me to hurry and finish before the stream started. Yeah, not exactly, because the stream was delayed for exactly this reason.
yeah. We are always late because we never finish things, because there is always one more thing that we would like to do, and we would like to do that.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If we would be ready earlier, then we would add this or that other nice feature and be late again.
Exactly. This is how we are. But this is part of our passion, because other people would just finish something and say it's good, but we are not that kind of guys. We want more, and therefore we spend that extra time and let you wait. Sorry for that. That is not the intention. So finally, we have a few sounds that we can show you, but maybe we should explain a little bit more where we are at. So we have our what we call the final PCB revision. PCB means that printed circuit board. That's the board that is inside with all the components. So, and we have been working on this for 3 years, or how many since?
Not on this single PCB.
But how many? When did we start the first PCB?
Revision A in late
20.
mid 2020.
2020.
Because the NEM was still with like a
empty
fake
box.
PCB inside.
Empty box, no electronics. So, and for me, the big point was 2020 was the new decade, and we wanted to show the world that there is something big coming, which it is. So, and finally, this PCB is now filled with components, and we are talking A, B, C, D, E. And in E, we have kind of hopefully maxed out everything to our knowledge.
Yeah, and especially improved the raw sound quality. Yeah? As you may have noticed, there is like no huge load of new digital effects or so, because we focused on
the sounds now.
Raw sound quality of the amps and the the pedals.
Yeah.
Drive pedals, boost, and so on.
And you know what? We can simply start with the clean channel of the Mercury. Like I put it on clean here, I switch off the reverb, and I switch on. So anyway, let me get my stuff out of the way.
And I just changed the bank here to bank A, and the preset is on the left.
So, and the
Clean
phone
with no
disappears
FX.
as well, and I hope we have. So,
And Alien. I have just 2 comments. Alien Love Secrets. I am at most half of the brain.
we have the left and the right brain here, but we are more at BluGuitar. So you know the other guys that you don't see is because they don't work in Saarbrücken.
Yeah.
We are spread all over the planet, and we don't give you the insights, but it's like we are a team of nerdy experts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, and Julian, just to make that clear, is the technician who is in the company every day, who is kind of the master, who manages everything, who does a lot, tons a lot. But if it goes into the super weird stuff, we have super weird experts for that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the mastermind that challenges them all and do the sounds. You know, this is my thing is I listen to the stuff, I come up with some features, with ideas, and then we find solutions, and then we work on the solutions, and then I'm not happy, and then we go to the next version, and then the next revision. And the good thing about our team is nobody quit yet, because they like the challenge and they actually deliver. In the end, we are all happy. Somebody asked, is Euge's GSM 800 already included in the AmpX? Yes, this is what we've done. But let's
talk about what does included mean. Let's talk about it later. I have another comments. Giffy, yeah, you were right. I'm fiddling on my phone, but what I'm trying to do is type the Wi-Fi password into this laptop so that I can give Thomas the list that I forgot to print.
Because I have made a big list of sounds that we should discuss. What is complementary and what is? So, a dumb question. But Julian, is Thomas son? No, he's not.
But many people
think
say that. Yeah. We get the list here.
We have the list. Okay, but later. This is only to see for us, right? Okay, good. Here comes the best story. Once we have visited Saga, the band Saga, and Ian Crichton, the guitar player, and me and Julian, we all were backstage, and they all thought we were the same family.
I had longer hair, like exactly in the middle between those two,
and it's like we all look like one family, you know. They all said, and then no, one guy is Canadian, German, and Saarländer. Everybody anyway. So Thomas is like Steve Jobs, but also. Yeah, of course. Steve Jobs is. I read the biography, and it is like, you know, what was the guy named Wozniak, the technician of Apple. So Steve had some understanding. I can mod tube amps. That was my level of engineering. So I understand. You know, we had this anode, guitar, cathode, anode, grid, cathode. And then there's a heater, also the voltage, and then there's the second system with the same anode, grid, cathode, blah, blah, blah. So this is the standard thing that we see, and like in Euge's Marshall, in the Bad Boy, it's nice, the yellow cables,
sorted by color.
It's so easy. So that's the level that I do understand. And what I have done is I kind of voiced my amps. Some of them here, I I was voicing myself when I was a teenager and things like that. But I'm not a proper engineer. I have no degree like Julian. No, he actually finished, what is it, some kind of university thing.
Yeah, I
Nobody
don't believe it either, so...
doesn't matter, but you know, so I was always about that little tweaking of sounds using more or less set schematics or set amps, you know, amps or pedals. And then when you understand, okay, there's a filter, you can change that filter. And if you want more gain, you have to have more level. How can we achieve that level? So I tried a little bit here and there. That's my level of technology. And at least I can cook with these ingredients.
Yeah, and you did, for example, also the, like, change the basic of the input section of this
amp.
Thomas.
Yeah, but this goes back to reading the JCM 800 schematics, using looking where the tubes are, you know, and then kind of copying that circuitry.
Ah, okay. So, okay, I
So
see.
I wanted an 800 in that plexi because the this is
This plexi has the two tubes in parallel for both input, and then you cascaded them instead.
Exactly, genau. This one is a PA, and you can see this. This is a nice amp to mod because this has like 4 separate inputs, and I left those two 100% original, and I used the other 2 inputs. This is a PA, and this I use that to stack them like on the 800, and have a gain and a master, just like that. This is. So, and here is a little switch, so I can go back for totally original, which are these channels here, or I have my 800 sound here. And for me,
so this must be a multi-position switch.
Yeah. So this was kind of my idea was to have the original plexi sound as it is, totally unchanged with the original components, you know, holy grail, expensive. But what I liked about that amp is it was so warm. And therefore, I'm the guy that wants that warm 800 sound. Euge wants that aggressive 800 sound. It's the same circuitry, but it's 2 different sounds. And this is due to tolerances, different components, and they are responsible for the tone. So anyway, let's maybe start with a few sounds. So there is my clean channel of amp 1. Can we have a clean sound? Or wait a minute, you have to go here. So which is which? At a certain point, I think we were very close. We didn't spend all the energy for the clean channel, but it's good enough. So this is to prove it. This is switch something here. That's the AmpX, and this is the amp 1. So this is comparison. Amp 1 is on the 1 and AmpX is on the 3. Okay? Clean. Yeah, okay, then of course we had a little fun with effects. And there is where the difference comes, because when this is a nice reverb, but it's like nothing to a delay, reverb, and blah blah blah. So, okay, with exactly the same basic sound, different effects make different sounds. That is number 1. So, what is on this one? Do you remember? Let's
clean and reverb is here.
Ah, okay.
I just read what's on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a different reverb from the amp 1 reverb, and that's one of my tasks for the next weeks, to get that reverb similar to that reverb, just because I want to have my amp1 reverb. It never can be exactly the same because it's a totally different algorithm. But I will try to make something that is working in a similar way, because the reverb on the amp1, first the AmpX and then the amp1, it's super mid-rangey, yeah?
Thomas, I think we need to wait longer between talking and playing because Lucas needs to pull the mic by hand and then people think the amp is broken.
Okay, I slow down. Give me some volume or some orange juice. Anyway, okay, okay, slow. This is AmpX clean. No, wait a minute. This is AmpX clean and reverb. Okay, that's some reverb that we have. Actually, you can tell it's a good quality reverb already, but it doesn't sound exactly like amp1. But I will tweak that one to make it more like this one, which is now the amp1 reverb. It's longer and it's mid-focused. Something that I learned from spring reverbs and that I find kind of musically interesting. And something like that doesn't exist in the AmpX yet, but that's my job. And I have to get my hands on that fucking laptop with too many parameters and edit reverb programs. But that's my sound designer. Fun. Okay, what else? Next.
Yeah, or maybe we could also select a different reverb here or whatever.
Yeah, but the reverbs at this point is like, yeah, they're basic stuff. We have a spring. That's the spring. So, if I talk spring reverb, I know there's a bit more that we can get out of this, because to me could be more boing. It's that effect from the spring itself, and let me tweak that stuff. Show one more just for the fun of it.
Okay, what could
The space maybe.
Yeah,
or-
space.
yeah, that's something that we. It's long, lush. It works better with overdrive. We'll check that later. Okay. Next sound.
Someone asked here if we can do a clean sound comparison without anything.
Yeah, okay. Switch off.
Maybe it was a little short.
Yeah, we did that, but it was. Sure if I'm exactly right. So, by the way, what I have here is clean channel EQ in the middle. So. X. D1. Might be a touch volume difference. But, okay. What you would like to hear some chords, like. A few more mids. Okay, pretty close, not exactly. The thing is, they're slightly different AMP1s, you have to understand. And that's the one from the video studio and not the one...
and not the one that we use to model this clean
one.
channel,
Yeah. But okay, we wanted to show you, and maybe there's still some little room for tweaking, but we know that we can get there. We show you more.
And that is also the nice idea of the concept, that later we think, oh, this clean channel, when I play like this, like then it does something else. So we can give it an update.
And that's something we will show you on some sounds later.
Or we do something completely different because the wholly new clean amp of this world comes up, and then
it's in here.
We will be sitting there,
Exactly. So, shall we show the vintage channel? So, pretty close, right? And the thing is, you know, I can volume on the guitar. That's, by the way, the AmpX, just so you know what we are listening to. Weihnachten. And that's the AMP1. So all that stuff works. How is the metal of the... Hey, we're coming to metal sounds. We are starting...
Yeah, a lot of questions about a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
But Giffy's question, I don't get it. Spring reverb for springtime sounds logical. Hence, 3 reverb types are missing.
Spring reverb for springtime sounds. Yeah, but we have room reverbs, and you know it's about winter, spring, and summer and autumn. We have to create our autumn reverb and our winter reverb, and I can tell you the winter reverb will be totally great just for you.
I was too stupid for this one.
Yeah, well, you have to be careful. Our audience is totally intelligent. They came up with words that nobody of us could think about.
How, that is interesting, how do the sound controls of the AMP1 translate to the AmpX, specifically the tone controls? Will they be in the X controls, or are they not needed anymore? So
we talk about the custom controls.
Yeah.
Which are the ones on the side.
Yeah. The model in the AmpX is meant to be exactly what is in the AMP1. So the AMP1 channels, clean, classic, and modern, have a custom control.
Yeah.
And
clean?
There should be one here.
Yeah, okay, this is... That is the clean tone.
Yeah.
Maybe we can try and compare.
That is clockwise.
Wait. Yeah, and okay, and then AmpX all the way. Okay, bright.
That is the sound that we heard before.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And now I turn counterclockwise.
And counterclockwise.
So that's the AmpX, and that's the AMP1. So we do similar things, or we do exactly. When we are finished with this, we will be 98-9% there.
I believe this custom control is tested first time now live.
Yeah.
Because I do like measurements of the AMP1, then I tweak until I get the right frequency response.
And then
I call Thomas, and when I'm lucky, he's there to listen.
And
sometimes we are too quick and then we forgot this and forgot that, and then at some point we need to start over.
This kind of tone matching process that we are using is interactive between measuring, hearing, measuring, hearing, measuring, hearing, measuring,
and
hearing, playing.
Setting in between.
And that sometimes takes very long, and sometimes we get quick results, but the last percents are always the hardest, and it's the usual thing in life. And the good thing is when you do that, you also come to a point where you think, oh, I can have something that is even more than, or maybe even better, or gives me more than the original amp. And that's fun. And that's something that we can save, and then we can use that as an inspiration.
Poti tolerance on both amps. That is a good point, because the tone controls, of course, as all potentiometers on this world have 20% tolerance. So
right.
555 on this amp may not be 555 on the
another
next
amp one, because that's 20%, and that's the same thing when we have two amp ones and A/B them. Sometimes you have to dial in a touch more mids to make the same sound because of that 20% physical tolerance of the potentiometer. No? And this can happen here in anything. The components on the PCB, they have, what's the average, 5%?
The resistors have 1%, and the capacitors, some have 5 and some have 10.
So these components, from our experience, are more the same. Have less tolerance. And we also have to find a way how to get the consistency in the sounds. So far, we were kind of surprised that it's kind of that stable, that is kind of that good, because when you look back at the old tube amps, they are all over the place. This is why the one is magic and the next one is total shit. And that's not the case with our amp ones, and it's definitely not the case with AmpX. And that's the big advantage of modern components.
Lot of more questions. That's why
Okay.
I'm of pushing because they get out of the screen already.
Yeah. Okay. Hurry up.
So what do I remember? Someone asked, why is a blue box connected? The reason is that we go from the amp's power sections into the big load cabinet
that I always use.
Thomas.
This is our studio setup here, and therefore we simply compare the amps and not the speaker simulation. We have one speaker simulation, so this is the consistent part. We want to show you that the amp sounds same, and if we would have again two speaker simulations, then there could be tolerances again. So we tried to keep the one reference point with the speaker side and just change the amp side. That makes a better comparison.
Also, we have the AB system, and so we need to go back with two speakers into one signal. Otherwise, it will be very hard to switch the sound with one knob.
But this it is the way how to properly judge things.
Because this episode is about amps.
Okay,
but of course, there are blue boxes integrated into AmpX, and we've already shown them to you in the last live stream with the old prototype.
Which is this one.
Not visible.
With this one, and this one uses the IRs of the blue box. So we know it's working, but it's not in this one yet. Coming up soon, so we know. But yeah, update. Any more questions, or shall we move on with sounds?
Tolerance thing is the only one.
The tolerance thing is, see, for me, the biggest advantage in modern production of amplifiers is if you go with the components that we source for our products, we have the highest consistency in tone possible in the analog world. If you go back for good old tube amps like that, even today, it's hard to get the consistent, selection of tubes with the, all that stuff is more sensitive to it, no? And our technology is more consistent, and therefore we know that the sounds that we create, that's something that you have probably experienced with an amp one as well, is very consistent. It's the same sound. You buy 2 amp ones, Mercury edition, and they are almost identical.
Yeah.
As there is nothing
identical if you tweak the tone controls to the settings to compensate for the potentiometer tolerance.
Yeah. So sometimes you put that mid control that is on the other amp one at exactly 5 to like 5.5. Not more. Then it's but that's what we talk about, 20% tolerance.
Yeah.
And that's by nature. We can't help it because we don't get better components.
Poor Julian, going proudly with your work to Thomas and only to start over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we would not start over again and just say it's good, then it won't be good. Yeah. Just because we say it's good, that may work for other companies, yeah, but not for us. Because when the sound is not on point for Thomas, you will see it in his face.
Yeah, I'm very emotional when it comes to this, and that's my job for what I have done all my life, for myself and for the other companies I worked for. And I think I still, I can hear that dB, and that's maybe a good thing in our collaboration is I'm always pretty fast in making a statement that has a lot of truth. It's like if I tell you the level is not the same, how many times am I wrong? I don't know, but very few, right? I mean, you can say it now.
Yeah, of course. The exact the question is, the more exact the question is, the higher the possibility to be wrong. Like if I ask you, is the bump that you hear that is too much at 1 kilohertz or 2 kilohertz, then you have a hard time being always
precise.
Right. Yeah.
But in general, it's like I can spot things, and I can guide you there, and then I was finding out that our measuring system was wrong. He was measuring, and he said it doesn't sound the same. You know, and we are talking about a very advanced system.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, I need to tweak it for the last half dB, yeah.
But it's
and then in the end we find out, the measurement system was off, and we are like 3 dBs wrong.
Yeah,
and that's already a world. Yeah?
But I can hear that immediately, and then I can tell this way. We can't use that measuring system. We have to use another method, another measuring system with a different method. And then, since we learned that lesson, everything was instantly way more precise. Yeah, but we are on the way of optimizing the whole process, and we went pretty far. I would like to go on with a few more sounds, because otherwise we talk for ages and people want to hear more sounds, and we have the Bad Boy too. I saw Bad Boy here a couple of times. Okay, I'm in. What's next on the switch? Okay, this is my. Wait a minute. Let the guys hear the Guvnor. Where is the Guvnor? Where's the box? Come on. Here's the box. No. Yeah. So. Hey guys, the other day I had the replica Guvnor. And this, as you can see, that's the holy grail Guvnor. I bought an old one. I actually had an original one, but that disappeared 20 years ago. And this is the real deal Guvnor. So, it's always good to have the best reference. So I bought this. And this pedal we have now also in the AmpX. And I just used a little bit for that tone. Let me show you. Wrong preset maybe.
What do you need?
The Mercury plus Guvnor. Okay, so that's that dry. Can we tweak the knobs of the Guvnor a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Okay, put it. And by the way, we have no noise gate. And this is a vintage channel at maximum gain and the Guvnor as a boost pedal on top with kind of medium gain. But the real Guvnor is probably noisier than what we have done here in ours. But the good thing is here we have now the Guvnor tone controls. We talk about the mid control of the Guvnor. There's the treble control. There is the bass. That's the gain. I like it when I use more output volume. Well, I have to dial this, right? Ah, okay. Yeah, so that's, more output volume, 6.3, versus a little less gain, 4.8, which is kind of middle position. And that's the way I kind of like that pedal, because then there is a little clipping from the Guvnor and more clipping from the real amp. And that's always been my favorite. And that's, by the way, a similar recipe of Gary Moore as well. Because he was cranking the amp, which was one of the blues breaker, but similar gain like we have here, and just get that focused mids and extra creaminess from that.
Yeah, and
pedal.
It makes totally sense because those pedals clips are meant to be played in front of amps that clip more than the pedal. If you listen to one of those pedals in a clean amp, then it's like both boring and ugly.
Yeah, no? Especially sometimes when you have like fuzzes some of the fuzzes, they sound so square, like a swarm of bees,
Yeah.
and only the funky 70s productions like that sound. But
Yeah,
the
but as
Jimi
soon
Hendrix
as you add
add,
volume and add the amp's gain so that the amp starts to react together with
Then
the pedals, then
you get that classic, huge, big, rich tone, you know, like Jimi Hendrix style. Yeah, anyway, but there is also, hey, what else we have on the pedal front? We have the the Nobels we've done.
like one thing in general.
Okay.
There are many questions like this modulation, how many modulations will there be, and the original Guvnor was lacking some bass. Is that the same in the AmpX? And
Well-
so on and so on. There, like, what you need to understand is there is no discrete Guvnor circuit in the AmpX.
We have a circuit that we tweak to sound like the Guvnor.
Yeah.
And
And if I wanted, I could give this Guvnor model as much bass that you only hear bass and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decide.
Yeah.
It's our decision. And by the way, the guy that I bought this pedal from, he has 2 more of these. You know?
And I guess they are
They're
different.
all different. So I picked the one that I liked the best. No? And it wasn't the one with the most bass, to be honest. And when you look at the settings that I just put in here, I reduced the bass even. I didn't even put the bass on full. I went, you know, like 10 o'clock. No?
There is like 1.9 of 10.
Yeah. So I wasn't even using that much bass. But of course, that's a matter of taste, and we have to have a reference. Then we have to make a decision,
Yeah.
and then what I learned about the reference and the decision. Can we have that ODR-1, the green?
Where is it? There.
Yeah, it's also in the box. I had a nice telephone call with Sandy, who is kind of the guy working for Nobels. And it is like, hey, Sandy, I have the mini of you and it's pretty good. But I was asking Sandy, is that actually the best? Or you have one of the original old ones? And then he told me, you know, the thing is, we have 4 good old ones. And one of them, they sent in the factory where the new ones are made as a golden sample to compare it. And he told me that all the good old ones sound different. There's not one exactly like the other. They all share similar qualities, but they are not exactly the same. And, you know, they know very well because that's their key product. They heard hundreds of these. And then there's like a little bit of magic here and a little bit, and the mini comes closer to blah, 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 blah. In the end, I will get their best sample from Nobels because we want to work together with the guys. So we have this as a starting point. And then once we have done our, let's say, sound or model, our Blugprint of that, we will get their best sample and then we try to get there. And then it sounds probably better than this one. You know, that's always my philosophy.
Yeah.
Get a good strat.
What's the definition of better?
I tell you what, musically better. You know, this is why get a good strat and everything you create with a good instrument is better, more quality. And so is it when we go for a reference, you know, I want musically the best inspiring references on pedals, amps, speakers, and trust me, in 4x12 speaker cabinets, there are 4 speakers with the following serial numbers. They all sound different. And I sometimes mark them and I said, this is the one that has a little touch more rock tone. And then there's another one that has a touch more, whatever, bluesier feel. And it's the same greenback from the same year, from the same machine, for the same everything. It's just the next number in the...
Yeah. Probably another employee who liked one winding more in the coil. Yeah,
yeah, or it's just the tolerance of that's the nature of the game. But therefore, I'm all about maximum quality as reference. The better the reference, the better our result.
yeah. But the nice thing is that we are flexible, and if a lot of people tell us, hey, your Guvnor doesn't have enough bass,
We make a little
then
software
we
update.
either we can decide to replace the original Guvnor and make the tone control a little
More
hotter,
effective. Yeah.
so that it will have more range towards bass, but not more bass in general. Yeah, or we could make
a version 2.
Guvnor 2 and then
So we have all the options, and that goes to our concept of the Blugprints. That's we have to create that format for the sounds, and that's a big episode. Hey, let's stick with sounds today. Let's hear some other channels. Let's hear the classic channel. Actually, we didn't have any AB today with classic on this one. Can we listen to classic on the AmpX? We're talking about freeze. Okay. It's loud. Anyway. So this is live here. Let me switch this one to classic, and I guess we are counterclockwise.
counterclockwise. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. This was your AmpX, and this is your AMP1. So I think it's not so. And this was not the same amp that we had as a reference when we did the sound, because that's the video studio amp with whatever slightly different sound. But as you can hear, it is in the AmpX. You know, like. For me, it's so close that I cannot really tell. I mean, it's like, do you hear it? I don't hear. For me, it's, and I'm very critical. Trust me. It's like, if something is not, no, this note doesn't stick out as much when I softly touch it, and then we revisit the whole thing. But this is like, for me, that's spot on. Okay, what else do we have? Or comments?
Can you say something about the copy protection of Blugprints in AmpX?
That's your question. We have a very, I mean, without telling secrets, it's we have a hardware number for each unit.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing, that nobody knows that number, and it cannot be changed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just say so much. If you buy a Blugprint for one of your AmpXs, then it will work on yours, maybe on your 2 AmpXs or 1, and it won't work on others.
Yeah, the protection is super.
Let's just not talk about it.
It's secret, but it's safe.
Even if we explained here in detail what we were doing, then it wouldn't help anyway. But what will be possible is you can try every sound for the details are still in the clouds, like for 5 minutes or whatever. so that you know if it's for you or not.
Yeah.
And then that sound will disappear again, and you have the
Or we will have
possibility
some-
to buy it or
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
That's by the way super important. When you have that sound from us, you play it with your guitar, with your cabinet, in your situation, and so you can really check out 100% what you would buy. I think that's the biggest advantage ever. And of course, we have a timeout, and then the sound will disappear, or we'll have some ugly noises you can create, or some funky melodies.
Maybe I will record a little message for you.
This sound expires in 5 minutes. Hurry up with your solo. And then there's a short time. You can play a few more notes, and then you drop in, and then the message comes again, and it will be even more nasty. Anyway, I have read a few things here. AMP1 already sounds perfect. Yes, the sounds in the people want will judge the X for its modeling. We will do everything. We will do our sounds, and we will do all the stuff that is in here and even more. That is the long-term idea that we want to offer as much as I find interesting, and we want you to be part of that big wish list. So here is our plan. We come out with our own amps, which includes the Mercury and the Iridium. That's complementary with the AmpX shipping, no extra costs, nothing. It will have a basic wah-wah, maybe a Vox Crybaby, and it will have the boosts that are in the AMP1s, Iridium boost and Mercury boost. They're slightly different. It will come with some overdrive pedal. I have not decided yet which one. This is an open discussion. Maybe a fuzz, like basic a chorus, a tremolo, a delay, kind of 8 channels of BluGuitar sounds, stereo delays, stereo reverbs, and blue box. So, plus something special for the metal guys, because the blue box is nice, but now after having done the Iridium, we can give you guys a few more choices on the metal side for speaker simulation. So that will be the package as it ships, and then on our sound library platform there are more sounds, what we call blueprints of products or sounds available. And I spoke with manufacturers at NAMM and, for instance, the guys from Nobels, because we will get this as close as possible, and I want them to approve it. And then we will sell this with a download for pedals, amps, slightly different prices, and give the original designer company a fee, because that's about the respect for creating this. I don't like the idea of having everything for free, because then there is no budget to create new things. And that's important for these companies, and that's important also for us, because we are small and we don't, when we create certain sounds, we have to have a budget for it.
Yeah. And you guys have to understand that our models are analog, and so we can take certain shortcuts that,
like profiling.
Yeah, like profiling.
We have to do it manually.
Yeah.
It's like ears measuring the whole day. We have weird noises, and then and it's kind of recreate that sound recipe, and we have to study the original device first. We have to understand what's going on there, and then we have to rebuild that. And if you would do that on the all analog side with not our technology, you would have, this is what all the Marshall modifiers have. You can buy one Marshall, but then you have to buy another modded Marshall. And I think our way is a little bit cleverer because you don't have to have 10 Marshalls, you have one AmpX, but you will have the sound of 10 Marshalls in there, all analog, and that's new. And that's unique. Nobody has that.
It's about users being able to exchange sounds with each other, but you certainly don't want that. We do want that.
Yeah.
And of course, it will be possible to exchange presets and your favorite settings of a certain amp.
Yeah, let's make that clear. I think exchange sounds does not mean you buy Euge's 800, the bad boy, and then somebody else gets that bad boy for free. No, but you can share the settings of the bad boy. Yeah. And that's the experience. And so what we have is when you get a Blugprint, which is like this amp. We have to hurry up because we have that amp and we can show all that stuff. So you will get that amp. So we have something pretty close already in our AMP1 Iridium edition because Euge is using the AMP1 Iridium himself. So if you don't have the original bad boy, you don't have to cry, okay? You already have something pretty close or something good to work with. But to make Euge happy and you guys happy, if you want to go all the way, we make that Euge amp 100% or 90, whatever, as close as possible. And we show you this thing. And it's already there, so we can prove that it works. And then once you have that amp, you can, this is like you buy that amp and then it's up to you where you put the presence and the treble and the mids, because that makes that sound, the sound of that amp, your personal sound. And that you can exchange with anybody because then you can create presets that makes a lot of sense musically, and this can be exchanged. No? Yeah. So there's the line.
And even if you don't have the amp, you can check out the Holy preset. Yeah. It just won't be suitable to play a gig with it.
Yeah, it is. It's, to try out, we offer all that. And then you know what you want or what you don't want. And that's the most important thing in life. And we don't want to have 3 million of 800 presets that nobody needs. We just want less but more quality.
Yeah, it's even worse, like 200 snapshots with each 20 presets on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Per amp.
Per amp. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you know what, guys? Let us show you a quick video what we have done on the bad boy, and then we can actually do the bad boy here in the studio. We show you that little clip from this afternoon. Okay, this is the famous bad boy of Euge Virta, JCM 800 special tubes and so, and now we listen to AmpX. And with the SD1. Yeah, it's very close, and the rest we will fix on Friday together with Euge. Cheers. Yeah, so that's the bad boy at the office or in our workshop or what lab or what is it?
Chaos.
Chaos room.
I say it's the chaos room.
Yeah. Watch out because you might kill something. That's should be written on the door. Okay, so maybe you could hear it. It was just a mobile phone video we took of the bad boy, and you could hear it is very simple. So let's see. The bad boy is now here. I put it back together again, and here we go. I put power on.
Models of the 50 best amps in the world, if not less, should be totally enough as blueprints.
Exactly, that's my plan. It's not about Maß. It's Masse. No, Klasse statt Masse in German. More class than Maß.
Yeah, and of course, a broken Marshall reissue from somewhere should not be one of those 50 models. Yeah?
Unless it has that magic character.
Yeah.
Because, to be honest, Euge's amp is
also a broken Marshall reissue.
Yeah, it's not a broken one, but it is technically speaking not in the very best shape. But that's part. Remember the diets from the power, blah blah blah. Anyway, but the bad boy has character. It is not meant to be played with a Strat, but I use my Strat as a reference point here.
Yeah. What I had in mind is your thing called Bastel Marshall that I got to disassemble in the lab, so I don't mind if you break it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I have a few of those reissue Marshalls. And by the way, I had a comment the other days. These were the Marshalls from the early 90s, must have been 91, with an X serial number or something like that. I'm not the biggest expert on the serial numbers. You know, this is 61 Strat, and the serial number is written on the backplate. But do I know my serial number? 60966. So now you know everything. But I don't care.
I guess we are on the Mercury in clean channel.
No, we are on the AmpX, and I want to. Yeah, here we are. This is so that's the 800. I'm using single coils. Okay, this is not Euge sound. Euge sound is EMG pickups and is the SD1. Do we have the SD1?
Yeah.
In front of it. But you know, we have to start somewhere where we have a reference. So my reference starts with my boring old Strat, but it's a pretty good measuring tool because it shows about frequencies. It shows a lot of things. So that's my internal tool to work with. And then, of course, we can finalize the sounds. But this is like the amp. Let's see how the AmpX version of it sounds. Heard 2 amps.
I think you need a little extra presence. But I don't know on which amp.
Yeah, okay, but anyway, it's like, for me, you can hear, it doesn't sound like an amp 1. I show you an amp 1, just the vintage channel. The M1 is way nicer and rounder. This is like the... Yeah, for me, I know why Euge loves his bad boy, because it's so musical, it's so dynamic, and it explodes. It's like, yeah. And this is with a setting that is nearly boring. It's not even maxing out like tone controls and stuff. But maybe you can hear there is a noise. And that's the noise of the bad boy. So, and that's the noise of the AmpX. We are actually less noisy in this case. Yeah. So, and we don't have the noise gate implemented yet. So this is all the natural things. Are we hearing AmpX through speakers or through IR? We are listening through the IR of the blue box. We explained that earlier. It's always the same setup, and it's my reference sound Stack 1970. Again, Euge, for instance, he loves also greenbacks, but he wants those with 75 hertz resonance. And stay tuned, because we will drive to visit Euge, bring back his bad boy, and have the AmpX with us, so we can have him play and double check if everything is how it should be, or if there's still something missing that we can work on. And then last time he was here, he was very impressed about my greenbacks. So I will have a little present for him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And anyway, there is the interesting video about amp sound in the room.
Yeah.
Who did it? Anyway, I forgot. Because anyway, even if we had the room sound here, we would need a mic to record it, and then all the qualities or not qualities of our studio would be visible, would be audible.
Yeah.
And if we went in a different room, it would be something else.
Yeah.
So IRs is just the better option here
and
compare objective.
Yeah, and it's that brutal. I mean, IR is direct, which means no other influence than just that thing. And the blue box doesn't have room. I mean, now there's nothing. There's no reverb. This is as pure as we can deliver tone to you guys. And to be honest, I personally like a little bit of room sound. Maybe you sit at home and have your speakers and you listen to speakers that move some air. If you have headphones, that's a tough one. Yeah. But it's brutal, but it tells you there is no color by a room. There is nothing.
Yeah, and the important thing is it's the same kind of brutal for
both.
everything that we connect here, whatever it may be.
Yeah. It's a total brutality in A/B comparison. You can't get any closer, because we just switch the amp, not the room, and we have the same IR from the same unit. You can't be more precise. Okay, what is... I agree, but the problem is now we have num tone X and capture sounds like we... I mean, there's more products...
and even a free plugin.
Yeah, which is the NAM, no?
Yeah,
the neural... That's for free.
Yeah.
That's the free
so
one.
So if you are happy with a free plugin to replace
your amp,
then
go ahead.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We don't have anything about all that stuff. Our approach is a different one. Our approach is to get the analog feel and those amps into this one box combined with all the effects. And good. If you put in a digital way whatever plug in into your Tone X or into your laptop for free, fine. I have done that as well. I know you can do great stuff with it.
Yeah, and I guess also many people nowadays start like that because they are young. They don't have like the budget to buy.
And they don't know how...
2K amplifier or a 10K amplifier.
Or a 20K amplifier. Or the thing is, for me, everything is okay as long as you feel good. All I'm saying is that old school amps in my collection and the AMP1 have the same feel and tone, and that is a value for me. That's why I have that. And I'm not saying that all these other options are bad, no, but they're different. And for me, I can tell, and I grow up on that feel, and I want that feel. Anyway, that's me, and
somebody is telling us Jim Lill is the guy's name.
yeah.
Yeah, watch his video.
Well, yeah, it's a well done video, but it's like I talked about this before. He made a model of a pre-EQ, an EQ pedal, like I have everything in this studio. Here, you know, you can get one of those cheapo equalizers. So, and then I think he had an overdrive pedal, like an OCD or you know, some. So, and then he had another EQ pedal to make post EQ, and that was what he was using to reproduce the amps that he had in the A/B comparison. And of course, it is surprisingly similar, I would say. But that's not boutique level to me. Okay, now I talk like a monk, but for me, you know, I can have a Stratocaster for whatever, 200 euros, that is pretty good. But why the heck is this my favorite guitar? And everybody else that plays that guitar says, wow, because there is that extra level. And that is what I'm about. And Jim Lill was good to show the basic principles. But if he would knew how much circuitry we have for creating all these different stages, the different clippings, those different weird combinations, how complex that is, you know, then sorry, Jim, if you listen, you are elementary school level. And we try to make it to university.
Yeah.
And
the
one plus one is two is fine.
Yeah. The reason why I like this guy, because he is like the ground screw, yeah? If you are high on the magic levels, you can click ground and then say, okay, this is already my 60%, and then
we start from there.
Let's go further.
And, but this is, and that's also important because some of that esoteric discussion things are out of this world, which is like, I don't get it why people pay hundred thousands for a double amplifier. I didn't even want to buy one. They're great amplifiers, but not even for me. We will get a Dumble because I know the guy that has one overdrive special, and it will be fun to have one, and maybe I can discover it for something. But the magic factor sometimes is overhyped. So that, but hey, if you have the perspective that we already have an overhyped magic factor versus a free software, go ahead and share that free software. You know, that's okay. So
Fractal has support for IRs with up to 64,000 samples, 1.33 seconds for room reverb support. What about the AmpX? So I guess what they are doing is not a straightforward
convolution.
IR convolution, but they are doing fast Fourier transformation, then multiplication, and then inverse Fourier transformation. And that's how they get such huge lengths.
We start with our IRs need to be as fast as possible. What's the latency? Which means the convolution algorithm that we are using is as fast as possible. So,
and I guess this IR with the convolution technology based on fast convolution is the name. Fast. No, I forgot it. But anyway, you can have like convolution with lot of samples, but then you have a latency of like 20 milliseconds.
Super slow.
Or you can have a super fast convolution that you need to calculate by hand, basically. And that's what we are doing there in the Blue Box and also here. And there the amount of samples possible to be calculated in a DSP is
less.
Kind of limited.
Yeah, it's less. And by the way, if here, take the white one, the Torpedo. They have a mode switch to change that.
So you can select how long the IR should be, and then there is like
more
a little comment. The latency will be this and this.
To this. So okay. So anyway, there is. We know that Fractal is probably spot on what they are doing. That, you know, because Fractal, I highly respect what they are doing, and that's good. But we will start from the other side. We will start from the first. We have the fast IRs, and then if we want room support, which I do understand for guys that do in-ear monitoring and stuff, we will probably have a solution different from how they do it, because it is back to the. I have a comparison. Remember the good old days with the piano samples? There is a certain. You can have a 3-minute not looped piano sample, you know, boom, and it rings. So, and this is kind of, as long as it gets and it's in full stereo and it just congests your hard drive and everything.
But it doesn't help anyway, because the piano sounds differently if you press two keys at the same time.
So, you know, that's why I'm not impressed by this technical stuff just for the reason of the technical stuff. For me, it's in the end, what is the most musical solution and what kind of technology is there available? Yeah. So we will have our solution for that and not exactly what Fractal is doing.
I'm waiting for AmpX, but I'm afraid in-app purchase will make the price explode.
Why should we explode the price?
I think what's in his mind is that the Blugprints will be probably so expensive that he can't afford it, or so it will make the unit like 6,000 or what.
No. The idea that I have, I give you some prices. I think simple effects, the lowest price should be something like 29. I'm talking euros, but this will be dollars. This will be universal. I think these days everything is like 111. So, and it's that's something where it doesn't hurt to buy like 3-4 different extra things, no extra pedals. You pay 100 and you have 3-4 extra pedals. So if you are in that kind of price range and you know what you want, that's not a big chunk of money. If we talk amps, we will have different categories. We don't know exactly how we will do that, because it also will depend on the collaboration with the companies. And at this point, I have no feedback from their sides, because some of the amp companies, they have contracts, and we have to find a way how, to make them happy if possible. But we will see. For us, it is about having a budget to do the things right. And we are not the software money makers. That's like, not.
It's not our intention to get rich or to ask like for unfair prices for the people that already bought the unit. Yeah. So you can be sure our prices will be fair.
Yeah. So, and I can see like pedal prices that shouldn't be too expensive. There should be super special prices, which I at the moment feel like 50, 49 or something, and then something about 100 or so. That's how I see the thing. And you will find out that you don't need 500 of these, because that would make it's simply not needed. If you want to collect, get the freeware and have the software and congest your hard drives. No? If you are a what is it, Jäger und Sammler in English, a hunter. If you just collect things.
Yeah, but if you just collect things, you don't need to pay anything, because for try out the amps and everything will be there.
Yeah, and in the end, the stuff that you want to keep, no, for your device, that you have to pay to try it out. There's a free of charge try out period, and that's what makes the decision better. And it follows my analog idea of having only the stuff that you need.
Yeah, and you can lend a pedal from somebody else for free, and if you want to keep it, then you need to buy your own.
Exactly. So that's the whole idea.
Retro Bytes TV wants to know if we can do Fender. Because his amp doesn't sound, his amp 1 doesn't sound like a Fender.
Yeah, okay. Retro Bytes TV. As you can see, I can do Fender with my real Fenders in the background. There is a bunch of good old Fenders, silver reverbs, black reverbs, and the tweed. The tweed is now covered with that. I'm in front of it with my beautiful 335. But anyway, so these amps we actually had already at a very, very early stage when we designed AmpX to analyze what's going on. And we haven't done it yet, but we can do Fender. And we have some special tricks in there to make Fender even.
Yeah, I think we have tried some stuff already, but it makes no sense to make A/B comparisons when the amp to be A/B wasn't even present when doing the sound. Yeah.
Yeah, but no worries about we can do Fender. We will show that in all these sounds episodes will come as we get more stuff done.
I guess there will come a Fender episode with a Fender guy, and then
we show you the Fenders. And I can tell you what I have on my wish list to be in AmpX. It is that fucking super reverb, and that it's a great one. I had people playing that one, and I had some people coming in the studio bringing their own Fender super reverb mid-60s. I think mine is 64, and we beat it with the A/B switching system. My super reverb sounds killer, period. So I have a great reference already sitting here. And so does my 57 Tweed Deluxe. It's also a great Tweed Deluxe. I'm not 100% happy with my Bassman, so I will probably get the real deal Bassman. I'm talking about a 58, 59 Bassman, the one that people pay 30,000 for. I don't own one, but if you have one, send us send us an email. It did work with a Dumble. The guy that I was talking about, Dumble, watched our live stream and he simply dropped me an email. I visited him, I played the Dumble, and we will have a Dumble one day. No problem. Nice guy. So if you have that killer Bassman, give me a call. But I know people that have that kind of amps, so no worries.
Given the analog nature when exchanging presets, can there be differences from unit to unit?
Very little.
We will do everything we can to minimize those differences.
And therefore, I mean, I know it from AMP1, and I know it. I can go back in my past with old school tube amps, with old school, with modeling amps. So, of course, a modeling amp is more consistent than a tube amp. But to me, a modeling amp, consistent means I have the same 3 amps, and
if there is a modeling amp and it has like the exact same DSP, still it needs to have an input stage, it needs to have an analog to digital conversion, it needs to have the digital to analog conversion, and it needs to have a power amp.
Yeah, and there's tolerances, and there has a speaker. So and this is, for instance, I remember at Hughes & Kettner back in the days when we designed Zentera and Zenamp, we had our own speaker designs, and we mixed 2 speakers to match to balance out the speaker tolerances too. All that stuff we have done, and to give it a bit more life, because the digital was not convincing to me.
We will not stop working before 2 AmpX sound so close that you
don't hear it.
Hear the difference in AB.
And trust us, because we do AB all day long. We do it in the R&D department. We do it in the video studio, because all the other thing. The other day I was visiting somebody, the guy that I bought the Guvnor from. He had also a nice amp collection, and then I was his 5150 and blah blah blah, listening to amps with no switcher. I can memorize sounds pretty good, but having a switching system tells you so much more, because 1 second is the thing. Okay.
Yeah, and not only switching system, but also the same speaker, the same guitar. I would prefer a Super AmpX at higher price with 100% all stuff price. We
can offer this.
Could do that,
we can give you the flat. What is it? The all-inclusive flat free South experience. That's kind of.
That we could also do like a hard limit to Blugprint purchases, so that when you have enough in your collection, the rest will be free.
Or something like that.
Or whatever.
These kind of models we can simply create. I'm not afraid of that. Let's see what we. So here's somebody. Exactly. I remember Fractal demo in Frankfurt where the demonstrator keep talking about 256 amps. At this point, I see 99, just because I want to keep it to 2 digits.
Yeah, read the rest. I asked him how many he actually used. 2.
Yeah, exactly. So, and for me, I think the limit I naturally would put into our little display and mentally is 2 digits. So 99 is pretty.
Like in the memory fit like 10,000. If somebody wanted to do that.
But it's bullshit.
I think then when I model 10,000 amps, I will be already.
Okay, I see.
Old and gray.
I see a few things here. Mesa Boogie Mark Series sounds. Yes, that's on my wish list as well. Hey, before we go into that, I wanted to play a little bit more the Mercury. There is a Mercury that a modded Mercury. Just another example. We have a modern channel from a Mercury edition that I modded as an experiment one day, and I wanted to show you that amp because it is an example that we can create new stuff of our own. Okay. And that's not an iridium sound, or you know what? Let me get a decent humbucker guitar, so you know what that really what the fun is with such a tone. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, for me, that's a sound that sits in between the iridium and the Mercury. It's kind of a Mercury modern on steroids. Has a lot of that organic feel, but has that killer gain. Just an example. Somebody tells me here, Driftwood, Purple Nightmare. Yeah, those guys are. There's a few people I want to talk to. And Driftwood is also one of them. But just to show you, we are still using the AmpX and for me, it's just an example that we can create new stuff as well.
Did you see presets for all since sells AMP1 tone models for Tone X?
Yeah, I saw that. And it's the Italian guy, again, he did it, I think he did it for Kemper as well.
So wait a minute, there are people selling free, like
yeah,
from the Tone X side, those are free, and then people sell the free stuff.
I don't know if this guy is...
They sell their work of capturing
the
device.
This is what this guy is doing. I mean, this is, you know, if you do it yourself, if you can do it yourself, then it's for free. So, and then there's people that do captures or profiling, whatever you call it, and they charge money for doing that. So you just you buy their work on our property. That's modern world. The question is how good it is. Maybe it's killer, because the amps are killer. Nothing wrong. For me, this is it is digital. In that world, you can do it. In our platform on AmpX, you cannot not do it. That's the thing. Can also do the Rockman X100 on the AmpX. So I can, Mario, okay, Mario Stracuzzi, the good old Rockman. Of course, why not send us yours, and one day we will make that special nasal Rockman tone that I used to have a Rockman myself, but it's a special tone. Anyway. Everybody sounds pretty much the same with that amp.
And Mario will actually save a bit of weight because he has two AMP1s.
Yeah, will all German customers who have already registered get the amp? We will have the German customers first, but we have the ramp up of the production. So we don't know where you are on the list, which number you have, and how many if you are on the list like number 50, and but it will start in June, and it will start, with, I have my, let's put it that way, I want mine first, because I want to gig with that. So, and as you can see, we have sounds, we're working on effects, and I'm smelling like in 4 weeks I could do my first gigs with that. That could be a realistic goal. So, and in the meantime, we have, of course, and that's kind of that we do it prototype, it's not mass production. But in the meantime, we are working on the production, blah, blah, blah. So when that time frame is there, we get units, and then we can upload the software that is done up until then. And this will go into hands of people that we know. That will be the first round. And then if we have more units of the first shipment, we will get the people from that list. And then the next bunch will more people. And so it will slowly grow.
Yeah, but there are already more people registered in that list that we ever dreamed.
Unfortunately.
So
There's only two ways. Either you register as well, or we have to produce more. And I don't want to produce too many at the beginning. That's the schizophrenia thing. So slow ramp up, and then once it's okay, we will produce more.
So Indie Cinetone wants to hear a metal sound with modulation.
Modulation? Where was it?
Can you try the modulation, please? But I don't know.
Modulation, chorus or something. But we have not worked on this really. There is something, but
there is like an experimental chorus to have a chorus on the trade shows. But we didn't even start working on it yet.
I think in where was here on the first clean we had something like that. We didn't really do the modulation effects yet. Give us time to do this properly. The good thing about modulation is we have options that people usually don't have, like since we have bias tremolo options, you know. No? Since
so some of the modulation effects will actually be analog.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Also, our compressors will be analog. The wowers will be analog, and in the combination, it is exciting. You will hear that. Okay.
Are user IRs loadable? It's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
So at launch, it will be definitely loadable. Now I can only load it with my laptop. With my secret developer interface.
But I think IRs is a important thing because people want to have that their own speaker, so to speak. Speaker. No, so that's an important feature, but it's possible. And there's one thing we did. Shall we tell that we can use this for audio? Or?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, you tell it.
Okay. Or you can tell it because the USB interface that we have here is not only for uploads.
I can even like stupidly demonstrate it here. When I plug in this USB and I hit the volume button on my laptop,
it is played through
then
the
you
AmpX.
can hear there is an audio connection. So other way around, you will be able to record via USB without anything except the cable. But how did you get on this?
Oh, I just looked at. I see a very interesting question here about digital technology. No Talk Guitar Amp plugins reviews. Says you should explain what is aliasing and why it's affecting digital gain stages. So my story about aliasing effects is very old, around the year 2000. I spent 5 years working in Bremen with a company called Spectral Design that was on the forefront of modeling back in the days. The best ones that we had, they have created VST plugins and whatnot. So, and I spent hours with the software guy to get this intermodulation effect under control that I get when I play high notes, like irgendwie with a small band. That's my test signal. No? And this there is kind of a weird subtone coming. And to get rid of that, you have to limit the bandwidth. And by limiting the bandwidth, you kill the natural flow of the overtones, because you limit overtones, and that has an effect on the tone itself. So, what's your explanation on that?
So first, let me try to explain the aliasing. So, when you have a digital amp, you want to do distortion by applying some non-linear curve on the input signal. Yeah. Very simplified. Yeah. So you have to perform some calculation on the sampled signal. The signal is in the digital domain, not continuously, but there are like many different dots on the time, those are
giving the picture of the waveform, or
or giving the picture. They are the signal, the digital signal. And now you, for every point, you have to perform that non-linear calculation, exactly. And so now comes the different part. Most people explain how the aliasing is generated by saying that the spectrum is mirrored because of the bandwidth limitation. You have like constant distances between the samples, and if there is overtone created that is further the spectrum, than the spectrum goes, like it's above half of the sampling rate. That is the Shannon border. If your overtone, for example, is outside that range, it will be mirrored to the left. So the overtone could be an undertone because it was mirrored, and that is like the because the undertones move in a different speed than your original tone.
So my way to describe it, it sounds like the whimmering of your grandma when she has heart pain in their bones in wintertime. It's an ugly noise, and it modulates. And that's for me the biggest point. When I modulate a string, this kind of mirrored thing becomes totally destructing musically.
I was just thinking how to continue the explanation.
Good luck.
So, and to prevent that overtones that are above the Shannon frequency, you have to limit the signal, but therefore you need a digital filter that is before or in the process of upsampling. No, now I'm already too far. So you need to limit the signal before you start to make that nonlinear calculation. And to limit that signal, you have only, for 48 kilohertz, you have only from 10K to 22 point something.
As the bandwidth that is audible, that is usable.
Yeah. So you need like a filter of 20th order or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super steep.
And yeah, let's not talk about oversampling.
Yeah, because what they do is like then they multiply with the oversampling frequency. They kind of make the bandwidth.
You make the spectrum wider by oversampling, so that your filter doesn't need to be so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less higher order, softer. Less steep.
Yeah.
So and therefore it's a race. When something is critical, you increase the bandwidth. You make oversampling, which again costs processing power.
Yeah.
And of course, these days there is a lot of processing power available,
Yeah.
but it's an endless race.
Yeah.
I have
back in the 2000s, I guess you had huge problems to get it working at all. Yeah, and you had to cut maybe already at 6 kilohertz.
7
yeah?
kilohertz.
Or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what you start to do is you have those. You try to replace that original harmonics with artificial harmonics, which is EQ. And EQ, as we know,
Yeah.
is when it's done wrong, it sounds
If you increase the treble again after the distortion, then your sound is gone.
Yeah.
It is not anymore what you
The
wanted to do, because the magic or 60% of the magic of the sound is pre-EQ, clip, post-EQ.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And if the pre-EQ is already wrong and the post-EQ is already wrong, then the rest is almost pointless. Yeah.
And because of that nature and playing with these obstacles of that nature, I decided that the digital technology will get better, yes, of course, but it is still always a compromise by nature. And in analog, that simply doesn't exist. We have everything is in that range.
A diode is a diode,
Yeah.
and a tube is a tube. Yeah.
Bam, and we can. We have no critical aspects in that technology, and that's
Or-
why
Yeah, we have other critical aspects. Yeah.
But nothing that is critical for sound,
Yeah.
and that's the point.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm the fan of analog for sound. And we using all that digital knowledge as well for our effects, and we are using digital clips in our tape simulation.
And for example, the Blue Box here
Has
has an analog
analog
clip,
clip.
and we are doing a digital clip to replace that.
Yeah. So we are totally aware of that. So we also play that digital game, but we are maxing out whatever is possible towards sound. That is BluGuitar tone innovation. So tone comes first. Innovation, that's what we are doing. But we do it all for tone.
Will there be a simple MP3 player on board for backing tracks? It is in theory possible, but I don't think we will do that.
It is probably too much of a entry-level feature.
It's the same like Bluetooth, yeah.
Let us do the real stuff first, and then we see if we have funny gadgets. At this point, you can have an aux in and play your mobile phone, and you can do that. But there's the positive grid Spark rehearsal amp, costs 300, and that's okay for stuff like that. Our
But
focus
I don't
is
believe Hardy O will be happy with that.
Well, maybe not. Yeah. Okay.
Sounded awful with the aliasing. With my first DIY audio device, Simpler, I recorded a short part of Michael Schenker's intro, the arena of...
Okay.
on a floppy.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that is some time ago.
This is quite old, yeah.
Of course, if you sample too slow and you have no filter, then the aliasing will also happen.
Yeah.
Even already while sampling, yeah. But the aliasing in digital distortion is... It's not happening in the input.
Yeah.
It's happening in the distortion itself.
Yeah. I see a good question from Mr. True Fifth. What a name. True Fifth. Okay, the power chord interval. Is reamping possible with USB audio interface on AmpX? We have
discussed it. We need to try it out before we promise it. Yeah.
Yeah. But we are on that topic. We are aware of something in that direction.
Oh, aliasing is spoken like alien. Yeah.
Hey, this is
Vielleicht bin ich zu deutsch dafür. Ja.
We are very German and we do mistakes. If you know better, let us know in the comments. But we won't change anyhow because we learned it the wrong way.
Yeah, probably. And also, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't notice any regularities in English pronunciation anyway.
Yeah, forgive us for not being native, but I know some of the native speakers have also funny ways of expressing themselves, as German do with our local dialect, you know, and we kind of like to embrace it and have a little fun with that. But it's also good to know what's correct. So that's also like, do we play a Gibson or a Gibson? I hope you are all familiar with this funny Gibson. They come up always with inventions that make like no sense, like toilet seats and Gibson USA. Great channel on the social media. I sometimes like to watch that. English is hard, but can be understood through...
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of... You know what? I think this is enough for today's episode, because what we will do is we continue to work on that beautiful AmpX, and in a few weeks' time we will be back for you guys with what we have achieved by then. But just to sum this up, I think we could show that we can reproduce... we actually have iridium sounds next time. So we can reproduce our own amps, we can reproduce other people's amps, we can create new amps that don't exist. And that's the big fun job. We can tweak amps without a soldering iron. So if we have an amp that has a certain foundation and we want to have a little bit more of that, a little less there, something that you would usually do with a soldering iron and change what I have done in the past, I can simply do that on the laptop.
Yeah.
No?
This prototype will be staying assembled, and we will continue to research on the other prototypes and then this one will get the updates when we are finished.
And then as the time goes by, we will show you also the Fender thing, which is a thing on the list. What you can do is you can, if you all have like your most important amps and effects, you can put those in the comments. As we had already created our own list, it is good to see also what is important to you guys. I think I'm pretty much in sync with most of the world because I speak to many different people. But sometimes you find things like, wow, this guy, that's we have to get this amp. I forgot about that, something like that. But this is a long-term process, but we can already start it like now. Yeah, Maxon SD9, Mutron, exactly. It's all on my list. You know, there's like the Tube Screamer family thing, and then there is the Mutron is a dynamic filter. That's also something we have to try out with because we have our auto
it's a
wah
filter that is adjusted with level of the guitar.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is all possible.
Should be no problem.
Yeah. But we have to do it, you know. Due to the need of FR for backing tracks, you can put MP3 direct into the active speaker and play my guitar amp with a restrict as MP3. Yeah.
You have your phone anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the other thing? I expect it costs $19.90 and in the US, yeah. And the Uni Vibe is on my wish list as well. Yes, and a good point here. Somebody, 6-string fan, can AmpX modulation pre-post the amps? Of course. Because
simultaneously,
and
both at the same time.
Yeah, and even at different speeds, because we have a modulation in front and we have a modulation post the amp.
Yeah.
And we can have even stereo modulation in post because it's could be a panning. Do.
So
and
if you really want to max it out, you can have pre-modulation plus delay plus reverb and post-modulation plus delay plus reverb. And then you won't hear your dry signal anymore.
You can modulate to death.
Yeah.
Ref Dynamis. Hardy, question, is this an amp? I'm familiar with the, what is it, the generator 100 and 120. Boss, this one is already there. Yeah, that's the little brother of the big one. They're doing great amps. I need to talk to them as well. I copied from your website. Haha.
He copied the price from the link that Lucas put in the chat, I guess.
Okay, sometimes I don't know what we have posted where. Octave divider, that is a difficult one. Maybe that ends up in our special slot. Analog delay chips in the AmpX, no. Hey, let's explain how we realize analog delay. Because in the analog world, there are bucket bridge delays.
Yeah.
And these
and tapes, and you show me the tape chip, please, because it doesn't exist. So
but
if we had analog delay chips, we couldn't do any tape delays with it, and we want that.
And but that's something we are very proud of. We already have created our own analog tape delay algorithm, and we can, that's unbelievable to me, we can emulate the wow and flutter of a specific tape delay. We can recreate my super beloved
why not
Duplex.
Let's hear it.
That's the point, and because
because we also need to come to an end, and we can come to an end by some nice sounds, I guess.
Let's see. The thing about the nice sounds is it's a surprise, you know. This afternoon this thing was in pieces, now it's there. So give me more. I need a long delay times and I need a lot of flutter. Anyway, this is just some kind of lo-fi delay.
It's a lo-fi delay that is basically left from almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Since we touched this.
But I'm all about the details, but we need to use a modern technology to get it right. So back in my life, my favorite delay was an old Echoplex EP1 tube echo. And then I've done this box, which is a tube, but this already has a digital delay line with a special analog and whatever weird modulation.
And nice filtering and nice clipping in the feedback loop,
And all these kind of things that creates that tone, that tape delay tone. And now we do the same thing, next level, even more flexible, blah, blah, blah. So this is what we're doing. And we worked on this for something. You will see results in the nearby future. Okay, guys, we talk a lot. The replex will be built in because I need it.
What I think what he means, will it be free?
It will probably not be free. Let's see. That's something we have to discuss. But it will be there from the beginning because this was one of the... I need to replace my whole pedal board, and anything you see on my pedal board will be in AmpX because otherwise I would miss something, and I don't want to miss anything. So there will be also a Chandler tube driver. That's the other one where I have the rack mount. I have the big one in the company, and I have the small one on my pedal board. You know, that tube overdrive kind of thing. What is the maximum delay in ping pong? Enough.
The clue is at the time. I think at the time the maximum of any delay time is 1.27 seconds, but it's just my laziness. It could be 20 if you want 20.
Here, let's see. I think by now it's a...
Yeah.
It's already, but hey, that's not critical, I think.
Yeah, and ping pong makes no difference, so...
Yeah. Where's the cloud reverb? Somebody says it will be great for ambient sounds. Do you have the first reverb? But I want both. I want my delay and the reverb.
Okay, wait.
Please go to 2 seconds, okay? If that makes you happy.
It's no problem.
No.
Bass reverb, this one.
Mehr. And now I need my delay on top. Anyway, so as you can see, we will get there. For Brian May's Brighton Rock Solo, I understand now. But I heard that Brian May used to do it with old echoes where each side has 800 milliseconds. So it should be 800 and 1600, not 2. Maybe I'm wrong. 1600. Somebody says that. Okay, for you guys, we will do the Brian May. It's a piece of cake. I think we put it in there and then we do Brighton Rock. Okay, anyway, thanks for joining in for today. Thanks, Julian, for explaining the aliasing aliens.
The aliens, yeah.
The aliens. This is a special topic. I thought for next week of a topic that I already had in mind is PRS released that Jimi Hendrix amp, and I will get this and see what it does and see what we will do with it, if it's any good. I'm just curious myself, being a Hendrix fan. Next week a little bit about the Hendrix amp by Paul Reed Smith, and that's the thing. And on the other hand, we have a bunch of artists on tour with our amp1s. The aliens MX needed Terminator plugin. Yeah. And here's one thing that I found pretty interesting. Our dear friend Alex Beirut just currently played with Rock Meets Classic. Maybe they're finished the tour or still ongoing, I don't know. But it's that classic picture. You see the 4x12 cabinet and you see there's something on top of it. On the one hand, there is the spare amp, and the spare amp is the Marshall, and the amp that's being used is the Iridium. Do we have that picture, or is it? See, there's the picture. Yeah, so times are changing, and the same is with Saga. I think Saga is going on tour as well, and Ian also. You know, the guy that looks like us in the family. You know, he also has some amp on stage, and the amp1 Mercury is what he's playing, is plugged in. And he is asking for more fat caps. Anyway, stay tuned. See you all next week. Thanks, Julian. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.